planes were going fast. One going the other way, and it was a fast pass. But when we first got over there, 70% of the passes were coming up at the tail. I don't know why.
You had an incident where you were caught outside the turret. You remember that story where you got cold?
Cold.
You were exposed to the cold weather?
Freeze. No, that was at the end. I tell you, that was when after my crew had gone home. My pilot and I had infection in my ears, and I was grounded for about 3 or 4 weeks. And my pilot, no, I was grounded for a month. My pilot got wounded, and after he got wounded, we had another pilot for a while. And when he came back, you had to fly. We had to fly. I think 35 or 40 missions. I flew 43, but some of them went home at 40. But they got to go home. They put you on a list about how many missions you were, and then they took the top ones off the list. And my pilot and I had to stay over, so we flew. We were flying with the CO. I was the radio operator with the CO, and my pilot was the co-pilot for the CO. And we went up to, I can't remember, it was up in the Philippines someplace, and we run into about maybe 7 or 8 fighters. And one of them came up and hit me, put a hole in my turret, and the turret is it's like this on a it goes around and like on the thing, and it broke the track. It broke the track, and it came off the track, and the turret was half off the track. If I had been in the tail turret, it'd have probably fell. The whole turret that sits on that thing, that's what holds it in. And it would bust it, and it turned crap, and they couldn't get me out. And we were at about, I would say about 30,000 feet, and it was cold. Cold. And I didn't have no heated suit on because I couldn't get in the turret with it. I was freezing. Yeah, that was cold.
How long were you out there?
Too long. I got frostbite on this whole side of my ear and my face and my shoulder and my hand. I still can't catch nothing with my left hand with nothing cold. It hurts. Still hurts.
When you look back at all those missions, Claudio, what's the most memorable experience? Probably the time.
No, that wasn't. That was. I'll never forget that. But the most one we flew the longest mission of the Second World War. We flew. We took off at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't get back until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock the next day. We had the rear Bombay tanks. They put plastic tanks in there. In the Bombay, we only had bombs in the front 2 Bombay racks. The back ones had all gasoline in them. I don't know how many 1,000 gallons of gasoline. They were big. If you see a big 24, the tank was, I would say, about 8 foot wide, 10 foot high, and 10 foot wide. So we had a lot of gasoline in them, and we went up. We took off at 4:30, 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. About noon, we jetted those. Things. We were just ready to go over the target. Before we hit the target, we dropped them out because they were like a bomb. When you got that, it's all fumes in there. If you got hit, it would just blow up. So they jetted them before we hit the target. We went to Brunei. We went to Balikpapan and Borneo, the oil fields. We had the 5th Air Force and the 13th Air Force together. Made that. I think we went up there with, I would have to say, 160, 200, 300 I don't know how B-24s, all B-24s, and they were going in at different times. You know, they had said it. We were about the second bunch to go in, maybe the third bunch, but there was a lot of them behind us that took off later in the day. That's the way they had it set, that we take off that so that you wouldn't burn up too much gasoline. But anyway, when we pulled away from that target and coming back, we were pulling, and I was on that tail, and I was looking down there. Destruction. You would not believe the destruction that we put in that at the Borneo the oil fields. Everything was on fire. I mean, had to be 10 miles. For 10 miles, everything was on fire. Everything was blowing up. You cannot believe it with destruction. How much destruction we did. And then I'm going to tell you something else. The Second World War. The people like Sammy, where Sammy was. The Air Force in the Second World War lost more personnel than all the other forces put together. And they had more prisoners of war than all the other prisoners. All of them, all the whole. You know, I get carried away sometimes, you know. But for Sammy, what Sammy went through, it was something different. I'm proud of him.
Where were you when the bomb was dropped on the Japanese? Remember that day?
Yes, I did. I remember. I was they called me I was in charge of about 40 guys, and I was down at Dodge City, Kansas. We were closing the base there when they dropped that bomb. Oh, no. Yes, I was. That's where I was at when they dropped the bomb. I knew it. I knew the war was over then. But I don't know if that bomb was right. And I still don't. You know, they kill a lot of people. Well, I hope they don't ever want to do that with bombs like that again.
When you came home, Claudio, tell us about did you come home by train? Did you come into Union Station? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Can you
I'm going to tell you what I come into Union. My wife was working for the Burlington. For the Union Pacific. She was getting trains ready to cleaning the inside and putting water in the tanks, and she didn't know I was coming home. So I come home, and she's walking right there, and I walk up there, and I put my arms around her and I kissed her. She didn't know who I was. I looked so bad. I went overseas. I weighed 178 pounds. When I come home, I weighed 128. And I was all yellow from. We had to take Atabrain. First, we were taking quinine because of malaria, and then after that, they were running short of quinine, so they got the new thing, Atabrain, and it was yellow. My fingernails were yellow. My eyeballs turned yellow. I'm telling you that my eyeballs turned yellow. The white part was yellow. And she didn't even know who I was. She did not know who I was. That was something else. Yeah. Good memories. Good memories.
Okay, Claudio. This interview will be seen after your death.
After I'm dead?
After you're dead.
It won't be long.
Tell me what you want to say to future generations about what your generation did.
People will not ever know how much destruction the Second World War did. I would not want anything like that to happen again. Just keep out of wars. Wars are the worst thing in the world. I don't know why they can't settle things without wars. I wish they would be more peaceful people in this world. That's all I can tell you. Peace is the best thing for the world, not wars. Destroying does not help.
I've got a couple other questions, but first I want to get the salute on tape. look at Jay
Yeah.
and hold your salute until he says okay. All right, Claudio, got a couple more questions for you. You and Sam have been friends for since
Ever.
childhood.
Forever.
Tell me what you think about Sam Basili.
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's nobody, no person in the world is a better friend for me than Sam. We've been friends since we were kids. We played in the band together. He played clarinet, I played trumpet. We played together. We never. I'll tell you what, we have never had an argument. Now that's almost 80 years. Well, but, when we were real small, we didn't know each other. But 80 years, we've known each other 80 years, and we've never had one argument. Now, how about that? Have we had, Sam? No arguments. No arguments. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Well, you two guys came back from the war, served your country.
I didn't even know he was in the Air Force because I went in a lot before he did. I did not. I went in I went in December of '42. I think Sammy went in probably in the middle of '43, right? And when I come home, I didn't know. When I found out what he went through. I said, "Oh God, how could he live through that?"
You remember seeing him for the first time after you're both
No,
stateside?
I really don't.
That?
I don't remember. I really don't remember. I don't remember that. When did you get together? I can't remember when we got together. I think you're going to Washington really got us even a little closer yet. It really did. It made us closer friends. We got to know more about each other.
There's one thing I'm interested in because it's a thread that runs all the way through your generation. That when you guys came back, then you went to work and you worked hard. Just give us an example what your day was like when you were working the bakery after the war. Those years that you were working so hard. Describe a day for us.
Well, when I first took the bakery over, I got up at 4:00 in the morning, go on the route. But first, I have to tell you, I had to make the bread at night. At night, I go to work at 7:00 and start mixing the doughs. Then go back, maybe go out to dinner with my wife, or go home and go to have dinner with and then go take my wife and I. And my first was just my son with us. He'd bring him down to bake and put him in. We had bread baskets them days. He had a little pillow in there and he had a little bed there. And my wife and I would start working, making the bread. At about 4:00 in the morning, I'd go home, take the truck and go home, and my wife would have the car there. And I'd go home and go to bed. And at 7:00, she'd come home with the baby and go to bed. And I'd get up and go to deliver bread at 7:00 in the morning. I'd deliver until 2:00 in the afternoon. Come home, go to bed, get out, go to bed until 4:30 or 5:00. Get up and go down the bakery and mix. And that was our life. That was our life. Until I got things. It took me about a year and a half, and then I put somebody on the route, and I just did the work inside, because it was hard back in them days to find people to do that kind of work, to make the kind of bread we make, and I had 2 or 3 different drivers. And then I finally settled up. My wife's brother was about 17 years old then, and I put him to work he was the best driver we ever had. Good driver.
Tell me about what you guys would do on weekends